Hello, this is Lindsay Jones. This is Showcase Assignment number 2 for Educational Technology, and it is on Technology for Evaluation. So just a reminder of the lesson plan that I chose for Showcase 1. It was a 3rd grade lesson. The objective is to recognize similar attributes between 2D and 3D shapes. The big idea was that real-world examples help make these attributes of the shapes less abstract. For Showcase number 1, I used the tool Kahoot. It enhanced the original lesson by making the engagement digital and made the lesson mess-free and organized. It allowed students to see a wide variety of real-life examples and allowed students to compete with other students, and the competition did increase motivation to do better. The technology tool that I chose for Showcase number 2 is called Quia. Quia is a wide variety of tools, including templates for 16 types of online activities using your own content. It's a complete online testing system with automatic grading, immediate feedback, and detailed reporting. Quia is best suited for formative assessment, which is planned classroom practice to elicit evidence of learning minute to minute, day by day in the classroom, along with non-summative assessments that occur while content is being taught. Both of these can inform teachers of what students know or do not know, help students understand what it is that they are ready to learn next, so teachers can adjust their instruction accordingly for each of their students. The other type of assessment that we've learned about is summative assessment, which is a state or district-wide standardized test that measures grade level proficiency at the end of the subject or course. The learning goals and outcomes of this lesson. I will create an online quiz using Quia tools to evaluate and measure the 3rd grade students' understanding of the following standards. Be able to recognize similar attributes between 2D and 3D shapes and use real-world examples to help make the attributes less abstract. I'm going to measure the success of their comprehension by analyzing the graded reports given to me by Quia on the student's performance. So I just wanted to walk you through what it's like to create a quiz on Quia. I think that was definitely the most interesting part of the process. The teachers definitely have a lot of options, and I just think that that's really cool. So you can create a profile as either a teacher or a student. So this is just an example over here of what my profile looked like. You can do many things on Quia besides a quiz, but for the evaluation part of this showcase, I'm going to focus on the quizzes. So you can create a new quiz, or you can view existing quizzes, so you do have access to quizzes that other people have created. But for this lesson, obviously, I'm going to create a quiz using the lesson plan that I've picked. So there are so many ways to customize your quiz. You can choose the number of questions that you want to ask. You can choose the type of questions you want to ask. So there's multiple choice, true and false, fill in the blank, there's short answer, there's essay, there's matching. I just think it's really cool. You have so many options how you want to format the quiz. And then there's other settings, such as if you want to display the question numbers or how many points each question's worth. If you want it to be case sensitive or punctuation sensitive, stuff like that. So you can decide how strict you want to be with those guidelines. So writing the questions, this was pretty cool because you have so many options. So the first thing you're going to do is choose how many points each question is worth. So depending on the difficulty of the question, I made some questions worth more points than others. And then you can also decide how many answer choices you want to give. So it doesn't have to be 4 answer choices. It can be 3, it can be 5. So depending on the question, you might want to give them more choices. And then you're going to write the question however you like. So it's pretty open book. You can format your question whatever way you please. And then you can choose to randomize the answers. So if they're going to take the quiz more than once, they can't just remember that the answer was B or that it wasn't C. They have to actually understand and answer the question correctly instead of just using the order of the answers in order to help them get the question correct. So you can add images or audio that correlate with the question. I didn't find much audio for this type of subject, but I did add images to my questions. I can see in other subjects, though, where audio would be a really cool feature to use. And then the coolest thing that I found with this website is the choice of giving feedback to your students. So when they answer the question correctly, you can give them feedback such as, that's correct, the cubes shown have 8 vertices. Or if they got it incorrect, you can give them kind of like a hint and like, look at the arrows in the image provided and use that to help you answer the question. So I think that's pretty cool because not only are you telling them if their question is, or if their answer is right or wrong, but you're telling them you did a great job, or here, let me help you, and you can steer them in the correct direction. So I thought that was pretty cool. So there are, like I said, so many options. So there are some more options that you can go through when you're setting up your quiz. You can decide how many questions the student sees at a time. You can decide what kind of feedback you want to receive as a teacher. So if you want their score, if you want a complete summary, if you just want which answers were selected, you can choose the number of attempts that the student can take the quiz. You can set a time limit for the student taking the quiz. You can decide what calendar dates the quiz can be accessed. There's security settings, which is pretty cool, so you can prevent kids from copying and pasting or printing. I know with everything being online these days, that is a concern that students are just Googling answers. And then you can decide if the question numbers and points values are displayed. You can choose different languages. And like I already mentioned, determine case sensitive or punctuation sensitive. So there's just so many options when you're creating this quiz. So each quiz that you create can be unique in its own way. I'm going to show you how a student would take the quiz. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my account, and we're going to take the quiz that I created on the 3D shapes. Okay, so this is the quiz for 3D shapes. Each student enters their name so that you know which student is taking the exam. So we're just going to make up a name real quick, and we're going to start the quiz. Okay, so as you can see, some of the pictures are really large compared to others, so I guess when you upload, you kind of have to pay attention to the size of the images you're uploading. But let's see, as you can see, each question has the question number and the number of points that it's worth. And then here are your choices. So I'm going to go ahead and take the quiz, and then after you answer all 10 questions, that is when you will be told if you're correct or not and get your feedback. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through these really quick. I'm going to get some wrong so that we can see the feedback for questions that you don't get correct. There's the big pictures again. But it is really cool because students get to obviously have visuals to help them answer the questions. So if they don't know, they kind of get some guidance through pictures. Okay. So we took all of the questions and we're going to hit submit. Okay. And then it's going to tell me how many questions I got correct and how many I got incorrect. And then it's going to tell me how many points were possible for each question and how many I earned for each question. So it tells me that my overall score was a 71% and that I got 27 points out of 38. So then when you go back, when you scroll to the bottom here, it will tell you exactly which questions you got right. So the feedback on this one was just, they were right, so it's just like you're correct. The ones you got wrong, it'll tell you what your response was and what the correct response was. And then the feedback that I typed was, think about the name of the object. So it's a traffic cone. So it represents a cone. So that just kind of helps guide the student on the ones that they did get incorrect. So I think that's really cool that not only are you telling them, hey, this isn't correct, but you're giving them good feedback so that they can try again, retake the quiz, and maybe be guided in the right direction. So I am done with the quiz. Okay, so one of the other things I wanted to show you was if you go over here to quizzes on the teacher's profile, you can see all of the details from the 3D quiz that I made. So this is where you can edit the quiz, assign the quiz to an individual or an entire class, grade the quiz. There's a preview, there's reports, there's email, there's a copy, there's print, export results, send to archives, and delete. So you can get a report about the quiz. You can choose if you want a summary report, if you want one on the questions, if you want them by individual student. So I can select and see exactly how I did. I can select and see exactly how John did, or exactly how Sarah did. So that gives you either feedback for the entire class and group of students or each individual student, which is really cool. Okay, so Quia does have a lot of benefits for the student. The student can self-monitor their success in areas that they struggle in. Quia tells the students which questions they got correct and which questions were incorrect. This allows students, in this case, to determine which shapes or attributes they need to spend more time working on. And the feedback is immediate after completing the quiz, which allows students to set goals for future attempts early on in their learning process. So the student feedback, I think, is phenomenal with this tool. Quia helps students develop strategies for improving their learning by allowing the choice for positive and negative feedback. When a student answers a question wrong, the teacher can redirect the student by giving clues or hints to guide the student to the correct answer. This feedback is helpful in encouraging the students to keep trying and teaching themselves strategies of thinking through a tough question. Quia also has an option for students to take the quiz multiple times, which allows the student to improve their score after they have learned new learning strategies. Quia also has many benefits for the teachers. So Quia allows teachers to collect data on or other information to monitor learning by showing summaries of quiz results. These summaries include the number of students who received the question, the percentage of students that received full credit for the answering correctly. Teachers can gauge the overall comprehension of the class by using these reports. You can also filter the reports by each individual student to see how each individual success compares to others. So this is just kind of another view of all the options teachers have when they get the results from the quiz. It allows teachers to assign quizzes to individuals or an entire class so that they can better evaluate the students' understanding. Teachers can revisit areas of concern and build on areas of understanding. There are many tools on Quia that allow the teachers to access information and use it in other ways to improve their teaching strategies based on the quiz results. So the overall thought on how well Quia did on evaluation. Data was collected through the quiz, summaries, and reports, which the teacher can access very easily through Quia. This is more of a formative assessment and it's planned classroom practice. Quia provides classroom reports, but also individual reports, so teachers can have detailed individual feedback and tell which students are struggling with what. Feedback is a great option when creating a quiz. The teachers can give students verbal feedback for right and wrong answers, and the students are going to get their summary report after the quiz to see what their overall score was. This data from Quia can definitely be used to determine which questions are challenging and alter lessons to help students better understand areas of difficult topics. There are many connections in this lesson that connect to the UDL principles. When you use Quia, it uses scaffolding by using the different types of questions to support different levels of comprehension. It also allows you to monitor progress of the class as a whole or individual, which is hard to manage without a digital report. It is a form of evaluation that students can participate in online and gives them a different method of assessment and keeps them interested. And students can see their quiz results as soon as it's submitted, which allows them to immediately reflect on what they're comprehending and what they need to spend extra time on. My personal reflection on Quia. As a teacher, I can see the benefit of using data from Quia to benefit my teaching strategies and student success. I would use the feedback from past quizzes to emphasize on areas of struggle in future lessons so that students can better comprehend the objective. I would use this tool in my classroom, but probably for small quizzes. I would not use it for lengthy assessments because it did take a long time to create the quiz that I did. And it doesn't save your progress, so you would really have to do everything all in one sitting. Overall, Quia was effective in evaluating students and also effective in helping the teacher understand those results. But it is not super user-friendly when creating a quiz. And that is all I have for Showcase 2. Thank you.